with this past weekend. It started with the crypto performance. Nelly, Snoop, and Rick Ross performed at the inaugural events, starting with the cryptocurrency event this weekend and then the actual inaugural event tonight. Nelly, Snoop, and Rick Ross are participating in these events. I got to add, Soulja Boy also participated in the weekend event with the crypto. I'm not giving Soulja Boy a pass. I just don't care as much about what Soulja Boy does because of what Nelly, Snoop, and Ross have meant to the culture from my generation. So I'll probably pay more attention. And they were in the headlines. I didn't find out about Soulja Boy, honestly, until later on when he made his own angry, misogynistic, weird video post talking about what happened, which was mad funny. Because remember, because Soulja Boy also sent out that tweet saying, trying to work on, he said, I'm in here in DC taking meetings trying to stop this whole TikTok thing. Right. Soulja Boy was going to stop TikTok from being banned in the United States. Not a president, not a senator, not a billionaire, but Draco. Got it. All right. So Nelly, Snoop, and Rick Ross were all performing this weekend for these Trump-related inauguration events. And immediately people took to the streets, the Twitter streets, that is, and they went crazy. They were not happy. They were pissed off. And it seemed like Snoop got more smoke than other people. I think part of that is just because he's the most famous. I think some of it also is for, the fact that he was the most vocal about it. I mean, when I start with Rick Ross has never stood up and said, yo, I'm advocating for poor people, or yo, I'm advocating for a progressive political perspective. Rick Ross has never made a claim to be anything. So I can't call him a hypocrite. I might not like his choice. I mean, I don't like his choice. I think it's a terrible choice. But I can't call him a hypocrite because of the choice he made. I can just say, hey, this is a really irresponsible, dangerous, though sadly predictable choice that you're making to perform at this Donald Trump inaugural crypto event. So it's like, okay, I get it. Nelly, I gotta say, I did not expect to see Nelly. I know I'm not a white person that does the hip hop thing wrong. I know that ain't Nelly. Nelly, I did not expect to see at this event, but again, Nelly isn't the person who comes out with the strong political opinions. I've talked to Nelly. I've interviewed Nelly a bunch of times. Nelly that ain't what he's on. So again, I don't like it. And Toya makes a great point here. Toya Teacher said Rick Ross don't get a pass. He be clowning Drake calling a white boy. Right. You can't be out here clowning Drake, Rick Ross. You can't. That's a great point. You can't be out here calling him white boy. You can't be out here saying you're not of the culture, you're not of us. And then you out here doing stuff that the culture's not feeling. And I know there's a lot of y'all that voted for Donald Trump, especially black men. Statistically, I'm saying. So I get it. He's not alone. But mainstream doing this Donald Trump thing is not, that ain't the move. That was never the move, right? Not since Donald Trump became this Donald Trump. When y'all was all on his you know what. I'm not talking about back then when y'all used to rap about Donald Trump and having Donald Trump money and all that. I ain't talking about that. Back then, things were different. It was still disgusting that y'all worshiping him. All of us were, right? Worshiping at the altar of wealth too much, but it was different. But at the end of the day, Rick Ross is somebody who, again, I don't expect much from. Nelly, I do expect more from, but, not necessarily electoral politics. So I was upset to see Rick Ross doing it. I was upset to see Nelly doing it because you don't have to be politically savvy to know that ain't the move to make. The default position in our community, especially hip hop, was fuck Donald Trump. And now all of a sudden it's, let's get bread from Donald Trump. That is a huge transition between 4 years ago and now. And when you want to talk about the main transition, let's look at what Snoop said. Snoop, and this is the issue with Snoop. Snoop did not just perform for Donald Trump. And I know Snoop has consciousness. I know Snoop has values. I know Snoop knows things. So I hold Snoop to a particular standard because I know he knows, but I've heard his critiques of Donald Trump. I know he has knowledge of self. And last time, after the inauguration, here's what DO said about Donald Trump. Check this out.
So ain't nobody gonna perform for Donald Trump, huh? Which one of you jigaboo ass niggas gonna be the first one to do it? I'm waiting. I'm gonna roast the fuck out one of you Uncle Tom ass niggas for doing it. Which one of you niggas gonna do it first? I was the one that performs for himself.
So that was Calvin Brodus. That was Snoop Dogg, who said that performing for Donald Trump was cooning. This is what I mean. His words. He set the standard. Snoop, OG, big homies, uncle, you set the standard by saying this is what you are if you perform for Donald Trump. Now, I'm not calling you a coon or a sellout. I don't think you're those things. I'm not going to call you that. But you were pretty hard on the people who did it. You gotta hold that L. And you might be like, look, the check is big enough for me to do that. The internet will forget. It's saying Riva said, oh, well, he changed his mind. Maybe. Or maybe something else happened. I remember watching Lil Wayne endorse Donald Trump. He was sitting there with his thumb up. Lil Wayne don't give a damn about Donald Trump. Lil Wayne don't give a damn about electoral politics. But Lil Wayne had a charge, and Donald Trump made that charge go away. We've seen other people get charges gone away. There is a rumor that all of this was due to the fact that Donald Trump was helpful with Snoop's friend. Y'all know the legendary street legend, Harry O. And it was like, yo, you get Harry O, you got Harry O, a better situation. You got Harry O out of jail. So this is just quid pro quo. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe this is a Harry O situation. That's an ethical question for you all. Would you all endorse Donald Trump if he could get your best friend out of prison? Do you perform at the ball if Donald Trump could stop you from going to prison? Like, how big does the favor have to be for you to do this? Because if we talk about probation, I'll just take the probation. You telling me I'm about to do a twin, and I can avoid it by let me tell you something. I ain't gonna hold you. If I had 20, if I was looking at 20 years fed time or state time, like any time, I don't care. If I was looking at 20 years, and the only thing between me doing those 20 years or me being at home was performing, I understand what Chris Rock said. I'm not saying it's right, but I understand. And I ain't gonna lie to you. I'd be out there, motherfucker. Say, beautiful. I do Bishop Wine's parts. It would not be tough. I'm not doing 20 if I cannot do 20. So I get it. I absolutely get it. But I'm not convinced that that's what happened here. I think they all got a check. I think they got a check and they took it. Now, what was interesting to me was Nelly. Because Nelly appeared on Willie D's channel. Shout out to big homie Willie D. School me to the game. Now I know my duty. Willie D, and seriously, Willie D really put me onto this channel and really gave me such great insight. Willie D interviewed Nelly. And Nelly was pretty straightforward. And again, I don't agree with what he said. I think he's got it all the way wrong. And unfortunately, like too many people, and I see a lot of it with our brothers, I see a lot of it with black men, they have a particular idea about what Trump is and what Trump means that I find disturbing and problematic. And I don't quite get it. I mean, I get it at some level, but I just don't like it. But at least I understand what he's trying to say. He's like, look, if you was riding, if you riding with Trump, if you already voted for Trump and now you perform with Trump, there's not really an inconsistency there. The problem is just it's a dumbass choice. But I got an issue when you don't rock with Trump and you don't support Trump, or you say you did and you calling people names. You know, that's my issue with the Snoop piece of it. It's just like you said all of this and then you did all of that. And if you change your mind, then you have to tell us that. Now you don't owe it to us as a private voter, no. But as a public figure, somebody we look up to, or somebody whose example we follow, and a lot of people do, you got some explaining to do. And if you don't give that explanation, then you're going to disappoint a lot of us, and confuse a lot of us, and mislead a lot of us. We're looking for your leadership. But here is Willie D and Nelly talking. This is Saturday night. Willie D got Nelly to jump on the line, and he explained to him where he was coming from with this Trump thing.
I thought you was riding with me because I put on for my city and I try to bring my city up every step of the way. I did not know you was riding with me because you thought I would ride for who you voted for. I didn't know that. I apologize. I apologize. I didn't know that I had to agree with your political choices. And I thought it was the things that you do, not the things that you say should be done. If you follow what I do, this shouldn't even be an argument. He's the president. He won. This isn't a campaign. This isn't an RNC. I'm not out on the political campaign. I didn't get none of that 1.5. You see what I'm saying? Like to try to help somebody get voted.
Kamala didn't invite you to
No. She didn't invite me.
She didn't invite me either, man. I was going to do all that.
Like, so, but I don't knock the ones that did. I don't knock the brothers and sisters that benefited from it. I don't knock the correspondents that may have gotten money to do that. I'm not doing this for money. I'm doing this because it's an honor. I respect the office. It don't matter who is in office. The same way that our men and women, our brothers and sisters who protect this country have to go to war and have to put their life on the line for whoever in office. So if they can put their life on the line for whoever in office, I can damn sure perform for whoever.
What do you say to the people that say,
like, I want you to hear this part.
We're not giving you this backlash because of your political affiliation or your political choice or whatever. We're giving you this backlash because you are propping up a white supremacist.
I would ask them to show me where he's a white supremacist. And here's the thing. Okay, I get it. He did say if you don't vote for me, you're not black, right? Oh no, that wasn't him. That wasn't him.
That was the sarcasm.
I'm trying to think. Hold on. He did create
I know where you're going. I know where you're going.
He did create the crime bill in the 90s, which said that if you get caught with 5 grams of crack, you do a mandatory 5 years. That had mass incarceration. I think even the Vice President Kamala spoke on that part that said that the crime bill played a huge part. No, he didn't do that. Let me see. What did he do? I'm trying to think. The white supremacist. Hold on. I'm gonna get to it. Okay. He did not rent to black people. What was it, in the 70s or the 80s? Is that what they said? And like, okay, is he written to him now? So nobody's allowed to change, right? See, here's the thing. So we can talk about past, but we never want to talk about our past. If our past get brought up in our community for a lot of what our men did, we always call it rehabilitate. Yo, these young brothers, we've been.
All right, enough. I can't take it anymore. So there's a lot of whataboutism in what Nelly said. At the beginning, at the core, what I'll say is Nelly at least believes what he's saying. Nelly's not selling out. He's just wrong, right? Nelly believes that Donald Trump was the best choice. He believes Donald Trump's not racist, and he feels like, and he's a patriotic American. You know, it's not how I see the gig, but he's like, this isn't an election. This is the actual president. I respect the office, is what he said. He told ABC News that as well. I respect the office. Well, if you respect the office, cool. For him, it's not inconsistent to perform. But when you call him out and say, look, man, and Willie D was being gentle, but like he said, like, what do you say to people who say you're problem white supremacists? He goes to point out racist things that allegedly Joe Biden has done. Fine, but then don't perform for Joe Biden. But to say that Donald Trump, there's no evidence of Donald Trump being racist, well, that's just wild. He said the last thing that he could point to was him having discriminatory housing in the 70s. How about a Muslim ban when he was president? A whole ban on Muslims. How about what he says about Mexicans coming across the border? How about what he said about Judge Curiel, saying that he couldn't be impartial because he's Mexican? What about the shithole countries in Africa as he described them? And you talk about the Central Park Five, you ain't got to go to the 90s. He still refuses to call the exonerated five or the Central Park Five not guilty. He wanted them murdered for a crime that doesn't even give the death penalty. What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Like, I don't have a problem with Nelly performing for Trump if he believes in Trump at the level of saying he's not a hypocrite. He's still wrong, and I'm still going to criticize him. I'm still going to say Nelly's dead ass wrong in his perspective, but I'm not going to say you're selling out. I'm going to say you're wrong. Whereas with Snoop, it's kind of like feels a little bit like, yo, Snoop, you say anybody performs for Donald Trump is fucked up, and then you perform for Donald Trump. You set the standard. Rick Ross, again, I don't expect much from him. He's a correctional officer, right? A former correctional officer. So he already is willing to navigate these worlds and these places in different ways. Again, that's not a diss to Rick Ross. I'm just saying he's made it very clear what he's willing to navigate the world in a certain kind of way. So, you know, that's it. I don't want to spend anyway, I spend way more time on these guys than I plan to. But I got to say one more thing before we move on. I got to say one more thing. Where was the forgiveness and the forbearance for Chrisette Michele? Y'all don't remember this, but Chrisette Michele performed for Donald Trump on Inauguration Day. And she's somebody I think it makes way more sense to do. Not because Chrisette Michele doesn't get the gig offers and doesn't have the net worth of Rick Ross or of Nelly or of Snoop. And so when Chrisette Michele performed for Donald Trump, y'all canceled her. She ain't got a gig since, damn near. After Chrisette Michele performed, she got no love. She got dissed everywhere. People wouldn't book her. People wouldn't let her perform. People wouldn't put her on albums. Chrisette Michele is a wonderful singer. I don't know anything about her. I don't know her personally. Never even met her. I love her on that Nas that can't forget about you thing. Like I rock with her on that type of time. I loved her on Can't Forget About You. Was it Hip Hop Is Dead's album? Hip Hop Is Dead album. I like it. Of course, I like her on Lost One. I like her. I like her features, but there's not a lot of Chrisette Michele songs that I could say, you know, that's my jam. Best of Me, Love Is You. I mean, again, I like Chrisette Michele, but it wasn't exactly a sacrifice for me to say I'm never listening to Chrisette Michele again. If I were to do that, it wouldn't be the sacrifice. It would be to never listen to Rick Ross or to never, you know what I'm saying? It's not the same. It's not the same thing. But people did it. They said, we're not listening to Chrisette Michele. They threw her away. They got all kinds of excuses. They have all kinds of justifications for saying if she performs at inauguration, then F her, she's no good. I mean, that was literally what happened. She didn't just not get love from the fans. She got dropped from her record label in 2017. She got dropped from her record label for performing for Donald Trump. And now Snoop is performing, and now Nelly's performing, and now Soulja Boy is performing, and now Rick Ross is performing. Now they have different ownership situations, but the point here is there's not even a call to throw these guys away. And I know it's a different time and it's a different era, and a whole lot more people are on the Trump bandwagon black-wise than they were 4 years ago. But at the end of the day, I don't think this happens to a man. What happened to Chrisette Michele, but it damn sure happened to Chrisette Michele, and what happened to a whole lot of other women. Now, it's also easier again to throw somebody away when they ain't got a whole lot of hits. It's easy to be like, oh, I've never listened to Chrisette Michele again. But if right now Drake performed it for Trump, a whole lot of people would be trying to figure that out because Drake got some slaps. You know what I'm saying? Like, but you know what I'm saying? Like, it depends on who the person is. We pretend it doesn't, but it absolutely does. Anyway, I don't know. Now, I disagree as a kid. It's just none of them are actively making music. Rick Ross is always making music. He's always making music. I wouldn't be surprised if you don't hear a Ross album soon. And certainly Khaled's gonna have an album, and you're gonna hear something.